Violent confrontation between the NYPD and Harlem residents was caught on camera and went viral. Officer Kendo Kinsey is seen knocking a young lady, Tamani Crum, to the ground after she tries to interfere in an arrest. Officer Kinsey's actions are currently under investigation by the NYPD, the Manhattan DA, and the Civilian Complaint Review Board.
The officer's conduct prompted outrage from the community, even though Mayor Eric Adams and Police Commissioner Keyshawn Sewell both say his actions were justified. So joining us this morning is City Councilwoman Kristen Richardson Jordan, who represents that section of Harlem and says something needs to be done to repair the relationship between cops and the community. So good morning, Councilwoman Jordan. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
And you know, we've been at this very place before, right, where we talk about the relationship needing to be repaired. This video in particular, though, quickly went viral. The community outrage forced the NYPD to release the body cam footage just a few days later. So do you think, Councilwoman, that the body cam footage helped ease the tensions or actually made things worse?
Well, I think the body cam footage was essential so that we could have just more evidence of what actually took place in this case. I think the investigations are needed, but I also think that more than anything, we need to be looking at police accountability. And, you know, when these incidents happen, what we have with the Civilian Complaint Review Board is a start, but it's not enough. I and some other council members are actually prime sponsors on a bill for an elected civilian review board, which I think would really repair some of the tension between cops and community by having some real police accountability with community oversight. That way there could be the balance of power that is needed for us to really coexist.
Yeah, I mean, this happening makes a lot of people wonder what is actually happening in the 32nd precinct, which is where this happened. It ranks among the top 5 precincts for civilian complaints. What are these complaints as far as you know, and has there been any attempt by community leaders, the precinct commander, to address these issues?
So I think to be perfectly fair, I think there are attempts internally. I just think there is fundamentally a systemic problem when you have a system where you expect police to police themselves. It's simply not going to work. It's simply a systemic failure. And so one of the things that I say with the elected civilian review board is that, you know, it's not about individual cops. There are certainly individual cops at fault who need to be held accountable, but it's about addressing what is a systemic problem, which is that we need that police accountability. And the community really has to be in power, in control, and at the center of that. Right now, where something happens and you have to report to the very people who are the cause of the harm, that is not accountability.
So speaking of accountability, Mayor Eric Adams says the officers showed great restraint during that arrest, but community activists say that Detective Kinsey in particular should be fired for using excessive force. So you saw the video. Where do you stand on the issue when you talk about accountability?
Well, so listen, I am not a judge or an expert, but from my eyes, it looks like clear police violence. It looks excessive to me. I have seen several videos because I saw the video that was released and went viral, and then I also saw the body cam footage. Yeah, I mean, that's my opinion. It does look like an act of police aggression from where I sit.
Yeah. Well, sadly, earlier this year, officers Jason Rivera and Wilbert Mora, they were killed in January responding to a domestic disturbance. They also worked out of the 32nd precinct. What impact did those shootings have on the relations between police and the community?
Well, I think it's extremely sad, and you know, it's something that we have to grapple with is this escalating violence. But what I really felt sad about with the police involved shooting was that we never really got to that conversation around mental health because in that particular case, the shooter actually had a history of mental health illness, and that was not something we even saw really discussed in media to the extent that I felt like it should have been, because how do we prevent incidents like this in the future if we're not going to address the mental health crisis.
Yeah, I mean, that is certainly an avenue to explore and to talk about. Well, when you talk about the systemic problem, right, because it's not only a New York City issue, it's a nationwide issue, right? Where do you see the conversation going, specifically locally, right? Who is at the table having a discussion, talking about solutions?
Well, I think you're hitting the nail on the head with sort of what you're referencing, is that we need more folks at the table. We need those who have been traditionally, historically, and are currently marginalized at the table. I think we need to have those conversations about the system and how we actually systemically change what's here. And I think we're dealing with different things. So I think overall it's violence, but I think, what are the root causes of violence, right? Mental health, poverty, exploitation, in my opinion, capitalism as well is a form of violence. So what are we going to do to address those is the overarching question. And I think having more voices at the table. I mean, listen, we have a new progressive wave in this city council, and I think that's a start. It's a step in the direction that we need to go in. I think we need to have more of those community conversations. I think we need both sides involved, but I also think we need to not just have conversation, right? We need to talk about what is actually systemically going to shift. What in the way things are structured now is going to be different. And so that's why I push for things like a mental health crisis intervention unit, a mobile unit, and why I'm pushing for an ECRB. So we have an elected civilian review board where the community is at the center of reviewing police violence.
Yeah. I think bottom line is...
And these are the combos we need.
Yeah, I think bottom line is the community needs more resources to address all of those issues. Yeah.